Language learning basics for beginners. So I'm not going to waste your time, guys. Basically, if you're not ticking off the basics as a language learner, then learning a language is going to be pretty hard. And what I've found is that most beginners get very frustrated that they're not making the progress that they want. But what they're actually doing is they're kind of sabotaging themselves because they're not actually doing the things that beginners need to do to make progress in a language. So basically in this video, I'm going to outline all of the kind of prerequisites. That's kind of a fancy word for it. It's basically just like a few things that you need to do / have as a beginner language learner, or you're basically going to screw your progress from the beginning. So this video is going to be super high value. It's going to help you know what you really should be doing. And it's literally a checklist that I'm going to go through. So if you don't have any of these things, you can basically just self-identify that you need to do it. And I'm going to explain how to do it as well. So if you do like this kind of educational content as well, guys, definitely hit the subscribe button. It does make me feel better about all the time I put in for free. But with that said, let's go. So what are the basics? The basics are all just simple things that are easy to implement that you should be doing, because if you don't have them, you're not actually going to make as much progress. Once you do these things, you're much more organized, you're much more driven, and you have the resources you need to actually make efficient progress. And what I've found is there are very few people that have all of these things done. Most beginners, I think, will have like a couple of these things done on accident, but you really should be doing all of these things. So if you can actually do all of these things, which I will explain them in a second, you will find you make so much more progress. So let's go through the video, and I've got pictures on all the slides to actually give you examples of what they are. So the basics, let's go. Notebook. You need a notebook as a beginner language learner, and any language learner like at all. You should have a notebook for taking notes. By notebook, I mean something like this. So this picture top left, or this one here, that's a close cover. That's just notes I wrote when I was learning Italian. That was like ages ago. I think you can see the date in the top corner. Yeah, you can like just see it there. Anyway, that's a notebook. The reason you need a notebook is like a physical notebook as well, is because writing is better for putting things into your memory than typing notes. Also, the impulse to just copy and paste when you're typing notes, I've found, is too high, and you should be actually writing things out. You need a notebook because it's a really concise place to look back on grammar rules and things you'd be writing down. Also, you can do a bunch of different things in your notebook. So you can have your habit tracker in your notebook. You can use it for journaling. You can have literally a bunch of different things in a notebook. I need to make like a notebook V2 video for this channel, just because I've learned so much more about how you can actually have your notebook organized and all the things you can do with it. But yeah, definitely check that video out when I make it. But you need a notebook for taking notes. I do actually already have a video on why and how to use a language learning notebook. So yeah, definitely check that one out. The second thing you need is a habit tracker, and I've made videos on all of these things, by the way, guys, so I'll have links in the description to all of them. But basically, the reason you need a habit tracker is because it helps with your consistency. So a lot of the time, people will want to learn a language, but they don't do two things. One, they don't actually outline what they need to do to make progress in the language, and then two, they don't actually stick to whatever they would need to do. The habit tracker solves both of those things because you can clearly write out what you need to do. This is an example of a habit tracker for not language learning. Like you can see this person's got workout, journal, early bed, read, walk, that kind of stuff. But it's the same principle because you can see they've ticked it off for the days they've done it, and they've left it blank for the days they haven't done it. So what you need to do is make yourself a habit tracker with whatever language learning tasks you're doing. For example, flashcards, reading, etc. I go into that in my actual video for habit trackers, but you need a habit tracker to hold you consistent and to make sure that you have actually the things written down that you know you need to be doing. So that's a habit tracker. The third thing you need is structure, which is, I understand that's the fourth dot point, but I'm counting the first two as one. The third thing you need is structure, and by structure, I basically mean an idea of what you're doing to learn a language. A lot of beginners have really no idea what they're actually doing to make progress in a language. So by structure, like it could either be a complete guide on a website or like a complete guide in a YouTube playlist. So I'll show you through a picture. That's probably the best way to learn. See these two screenshots of the same website. It's literally a website someone's made for Russian, and as you can clearly see down the side, it's got a bunch of different topics in Russian. Same down here, and you can click on all of them, you can go through it, and you can learn them. This is really good because it allows you to go through in like a sequential order and learn about a bunch of different things instead of going all over the place and not really having any idea what you're doing. This isn't as necessary for more experienced language learners just because you've already taught yourself a language before, apart from your native language, so you kind of know what you need to do. But for a beginner, I found people often learn like colors, numbers, greetings, and then they're kind of stuck and they're like, okay, what do I even need to do? This is really good because it actually gives you a list of all of the different things you need to learn. And then once you've learned all of them, it's pretty hard to say you don't really you don't really know what you're doing basically. So yeah, obviously you need one specific to your language, so I can't link ones for like every single language. If you do want any help with any of these things, guys, by the way, comment down below. Happy to help you find stuff and answer any questions as well. But yeah, that is the complete guide. Here's an example of a YouTube playlist as well. So it could be a website or a YouTube playlist. This is one by, it's like Italy Made Easy. Yeah, that's it. And you can see this playlist is just talking about many, many different topics in Italian. That's the playlist there. So yeah, something like that you can just follow along and learn things, I've found is super useful. What's next? Folders. So this is a pretty straightforward one. If you have anything on the internet, which you should have lots, you should be saving all of it. And the reason for that is because of organization. If you don't save things, it's very difficult to go back and find them. It's tedious. Just save everything, trust me. So you should have a language learning folder. If you have multiple languages, like for example, I still have an Italian folder because even though I've finished learning it basically, I still keep it, and I have folders for other languages as well that just interest me. Even though I'm learning Russian at the moment, I can save all of those individual languages in the languages folder, and then within the subfolders, I can save, websites, YouTube channels, anything like that, stuff explaining things in that language. So definitely make like, you know what I mean by that? That's like a screenshot from my Chrome. I should have screenshotted the whole page with just folders. Make a folder. It's pretty easy to figure out how to do. Just Google it if you don't know how, and yeah, save everything to there. What's next? Digital flashcards. You need some kind of flashcards, and again, all these things have their own videos. They're too complicated to like go into properly, but effectively, digital flashcards are definitely better than physical flashcards, and the reason for that is just because it's much better to make. They're easy to organize. You can import them, so you can actually take stacks other people have made online, which is super useful. And yeah, you do need to use a website. I'd highly recommend StudyStack. It's completely free, which is this one. I'll have it linked in the description. But yeah, you need to have some kind of flashcards because repetition is super important. As far as content goes, by content, I just mean input. So things you can read and listen to. For example, like it could be YouTube, it could be YouTube vlogs, movies, books, TV, etc., anything like that. The pictures I've got as examples are not of all those things. Here's an example of like a kind of interview thing, which could be useful to listen to, and that's like the playlist it's from. So you can see this channel, Easy Russian. You can find these in like any language, by the way. You can see they're talking about a bunch of different topics in the street. They've got subtitles, and it's called Easy Russian. It's designed for beginner learners. So you can watch these kind of things. You can take note of words you don't know and that kind of stuff. That's super good to watch. Same goes for all of these things. I wouldn't really recommend you buy books straight away, like you pay money for like a physical book, but you can find free text to read online here, for example. Here's a screenshot of lingua.com, which has short stories in a bunch of different languages, so I'll link that. If you need help finding any of these things, like a website for short stories in your language, comment down below and I'll try and give you a hand. That's an example of good parallel text, so it's got it in one side in Russian, one side in English. That kind of stuff is good too. So yeah, just stuff like that can be super useful. As far as a native/expert guide goes, by native guide, I mean someone who speaks the language natively, preferably, who can actually explain things. So I've got, I think it's here, yeah. This is Learning Italian with Lucrezia. It's a great channel that I've used for learning Italian. I'm sure other people watching this, I know there's a few people watching this who are learning Italian who do use her as well. This, like you can just see from the videos, they're just on like various topics of her just explaining stuff that's confusing. A person explaining stuff I found can be really good compared to just reading a website. So definitely find a channel with a native speaker like that can explain things. Yeah, I found that's really useful. Same, that's a vlog, by the way, an example of a vlog that you could watch for content. And yeah, by expert, so I've got native guide as someone who can actually explain problems in the language you might be having. As far as expert guide goes, I just mean someone that can like give you advice for language learning, period, not just with the language you're learning. So I've got a screenshot from, I think it's Veronica's language diary. She does pretty good videos, and also a screenshot of just me, because I think I'm pretty good at this as well for a small channel. Someone who isn't giving a specific advice for specific languages. I'm not like making videos on Italian or anything. I'm just giving, like, I think in my opinion, really good advice on language learning and helping you guys language learn. So saving YouTubers like this as well in your favorites, subscribing to them, I think can be super good as well, just because someone who has learned a language before giving you advice is pretty helpful in my opinion. But yeah, that's everything, guys. Sorry, it's quite a very dense video. We're talking about a lot of things, which is why I've got links in the description to all of those things. And I'd highly recommend you find the one that you reckon you're not doing the most and just go watch the video on that, because it will give you a hand. But yeah, bottom line, ticking off these easy prerequisites will boost you forward in learning, and not doing them will definitely it won't help you to miss a lot of these things. So yeah, if you do have any questions, comment down below. If you like this video, definitely drop a like and subscribe. It does make me feel better about all the time I put in for free. I've got links in the description to my Discord, which is completely free, and my website. And yeah, thank you for watching, guys, and have a good one.